Hi, everybody. Welcome to English Digest. I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
And it's our Discovery unit today. And we're going to be talking about barbecues, which is coming up here in Taiwan. Mid-Autumn Festival is probably going to be happening within a month or so. I didn't check the calendar recently. And, of course, it's a big tradition in Taiwan to have your outdoor barbecue under the full moon to celebrate Mid-Autumn Festival. But we're talking about a TV show, which has people competing for the title of the best barbecue champ, or basically the barbecue champ, the person who can make the best barbecue. And I guess barbecues are not only popular in Taiwan, but also in the UK, in Great Britain, England, Scotland, Wales, Northern Ireland, etc. They just love their barbecues there.
Why not? I love barbecues.
Me too.
Yeah, it's the best. And I love Moon Festival here because we get, the barbecues on the sidewalks and families standing around together. I love barbecues. There are a couple of great barbecue restaurants here in Taipei too. And I want to give one of them some attention. Mighty Quinn's on Ren'ai and Dunhua. That little circle there's a barbecue place. It's excellent. So we're going to talk about the barbecue champs. There are a lot of competitions where people get together and want to be crowned or named the champion. We're going to talk about this now, though. First, as we always do, we're going to read through today's article.
Barbecue fever has taken over the UK. All across the country, from backyards to restaurant kitchens, barbecue enthusiasts thrill at the grill. Their goal is to make sure the tenderest of meats find their way into hungry bellies. TLC's show Barbecue Champ captures this barbecue spirit and brings it to the screen. The show puts amateur cooks to the test to find out who deserves the Barbecue Champ trophy and 25,000 pounds in cash. Each week, one disappointed cook who can't take the heat is sent home until only the champion remains. Each contestant has to impress two judges, Adam Richman, an American author and food explorer, and Mark Blatchford, an executive chef from London. To do so, the contestants have to prepare a perfectly cooked barbecue dish with all the trimmings. The only trick is that everything they serve must be prepared over wood and coals. Each episode features 3 challenges, the first of which takes place at Barbecue Headquarters, an outdoor barbecue location set up with stations for each contestant. Equipped with the best barbecues in the industry, the cooks are faced with the intense pressure of building their fires, cooking, and plating their dishes in a limited amount of time. In one episode, the contestants are told to expect the unexpected. Adam and Mark startle them by requesting a dessert dish accompanied by a cocktail. The judges want to be able to look at the dishes and think, there's no way that came off a barbecue. With the clock ticking, the contestants get to work. They have 75 minutes to come up with a sweet dish and drink that could tempt the palates of even the harshest critics.
Okay, guys, we're back. We're going to be talking about some of these phrases and especially vocabulary words. First of all, though, let's take a look at the title, the headline. The title of this is Barbecue Champ Turns Up the Heat. To turn up the heat is actually an idiom we use, which means to put pressure on something to increase the amount of some sort of activity. For example, we use it to talk about the police. Oh, the police are turning up the heat on the gang that's operating down in the southern part of Taiwan. Or citizens who are upset about higher taxes are turning up the heat on their politicians that represent them, getting them to go back and see if they can lower the taxes by passing another law. So turn up the heat means to put more pressure on somebody or something. Barbecues are pretty popular in the States, I know, because I'm an American. But we're finding out today that barbecue fever has taken over the UK. When you talk about a fever, it's just the popularity popularity of something is just going crazy. Disco fever was really popular in the 70s. People love disco dancing. There's fever when just there's a lot of excitement and enthusiasm for something. We're finding out in the first sentence that the Brits, the people in Great Britain, love barbecue.
And why not? They could have barbecues outdoors next to an old medieval castle or something like that. It sounds like a great way to pass a summer's day. I don't blame them. So it's taken off in the UK. It's quite popular there. It's all the rage in the UK and all across the country, from backyards to restaurant kitchens. Barbecue enthusiasts thrill at the grill. So this is all across the country of Great Britain, and it's going from backyards where people live, and it's going to restaurant kitchens. I guess you can get barbecue food at a restaurant.
Of course.
You don't have to cook it yourself. And these are people who love barbecues. They are barbecue enthusiasts. That means they are enthusiastic about barbecues. An enthusiast is a person who is very much interested in a particular activity or a particular subject. You might be a cycling enthusiast. You love taking your bicycle out for rides on the weekend. You pedal 70, 80 kilometers without batting an eyelash. You might be a cycling enthusiast. But these are barbecue enthusiasts in the UK. And they thrill at the grill. This is probably in a sentence that the writer wrote for this article. Thrill, they're using this as a verb here. Thrill usually is a noun, right? A thrill. I'd like to get some thrills at the amusement park, for example.
Yeah.
But I think we're just kind of stretching this and turning it into a verb here, to thrill at the grill, to have a really thrilling or exciting time at the grill.
I wanted to mention an enthusiast is simply a fan. We often just call people barbecue fans. I'm a baseball fan. So enthusiast is just another word. It's used not as much as fan. It's a little longer. So if you get tired of saying fan, here's another word for you. Their goal is to make sure the tenderest of meats find their way into hungry bellies. We use this word tender. It's an adjective. This is a superlative form. Tender, tenderer, tenderest, okay? It's a word we use to talk about meat, typically, that's easy to cut, easy to chew. It's not tough. We don't say meat is soft. We say it's tender. Oh, the steak is not tender enough. Oh, the steak is really tender. It's delicious. With meat, we love meat to be tender. For it to be tender, if you're barbecuing, usually you cook it a long time. If you're cooking a steak on the grill, it's not cooked as long. But to cook some of the types of meat we eat, with barbecue at least, barbecue sauce, we're cooking it for a long, long time so it's tender and falls apart.
Right, it falls apart. It's so moist. It's so tender. It just melts on your tongue. It melts in your mouth. And so they want these tender meats to find their way into hungry bellies, or the tummies of people who are really hungry. And TLC's show Barbecue Champ captures this barbecue spirit and brings it to the screen. So they're capturing the spirit. They are basically reporting on the enthusiasm that people have about this program, and they're letting us know how exciting it is, and they're bringing it to the screen. Basically, they're showing it on television for us to see, or maybe on YouTube or something like that. And the show puts amateur cooks to the test to find out who deserves the Barbecue Champ trophy and 25,000 pounds in cash. So these are amateurs. An amateur is just someone below professional, right? They're an enthusiast. They really like a sport or some kind of activity, but they just really like it, and maybe they practice it and they take classes, but they're not getting paid for it. They're not professionals, but they're just the next step down from being a professional.
These amateurs put something to the test means you try something out, see how good you are at it, to put something to the test. I finally decided to try stinky tofu.
Wow.
And I put it to the test to see if I liked it by tasting it. It's not my favorite thing, but these amateurs are put to the test by the show. So they give these cooks some different, challenges, you could say, to see who is really the best barbecue champion or barbecue cook. So if you see who deserves something, you're seeing who has done enough work or who is worthy of having the trophy. The trophy is usually be some sort of award that you get if you win something, right? You get a trophy. It usually looks like a cup, or if you win a trophy and you won the Oscars, you know, you're a good actor or actress, you get that Oscar, which looks like a nude man. That's the trophy. So they give him a trophy, and the best part of this competition is they get 25,000 UK pounds in cash. UK, the Great Britain, has they don't have dollars. They have what we call pounds.
They don't have euros either.
No.
They still have the pounds there.
That's
but
right.
In any case, that's a lot of money there. You can do quite a bit with that. Maybe
Yeah.
you can open a restaurant or something like that. And each week, one disappointed cook who can't take the heat is sent home until only the champion remains. So yes, indeed, they eliminate one contestant each week. So they are a disappointed cook. They can't take the heat. If you can't take it or you can't take the heat,
Can't take the pressure, right?
that's right. There's too much pressure and you got to quit. You start screaming. You pull your hair out of your head. Oh, I can't take it anymore.
No.
There's too much pressure. I can't take the heat. So he's sent home. And they do this each week until only one person remains, and then that person is the champion.
That's how it usually goes. So each contestant has to impress two judges. Alan Richman, who I love. He's an American author and food explorer. And then there's another guy I don't know. He's British. His name is Mark Blatchford. He's an executive chef from London, so he knows his stuff. If you're an executive chef, you've usually gone to a cooking school. And if you haven't gone to a cooking school, you've trained in restaurants since you were just a young kid. Usually they start at like 16. And it's a lot of hard work. Executive chefs are in charge of all the cooks in the kitchen. So if you're a contestant, you're competing in a contest and you're trying to impress or really get the attention of these two judges so that they think you are the most talented.
That's what you want, to be the most talented, and we'll continue talking about this in just a couple of seconds. We're going to take a little bit of a breather right now and wait until we finish listening to our Chinese teacher.
Hello everyone, my name is Tina. 我们首先来看一下今天要谈论的主题呢，跟 barbecue 也就是烧烤有关。首先来看到第一段的第二个句子提到All across the country, from backyards to restaurant kitchens, barbecue enthusiasts thrill at the grill. 在这里我们先来看一看 enthusiast 在这里用来当作是名词，解释成为是对某个事物非常热衷的人，我们可以搭配介系词 about。举例来说 He is an enthusiast about politics 代表着呢他是一个热衷于政治的人，而后面所搭配的动词是 thrill 在这里呢解释成为感到兴奋或是激动的。对什么感到兴奋激动，搭配的介系词是 at。 She thrilled at the invitation 也就是代表着她收到这个邀请的时候呢感到非常的激动。英国各地呢，从后院到餐厅的厨房，这些呢烤肉的爱好者 enthusiasts 对于烧烤的食物感到兴奋不已。而今天要介绍的这个题目呢，这个节目叫做金牌烤肉家。在这一段的倒数第二个句子提到 The show puts amateur cooks to the test to find out who deserves the barbecue champ trophy and 25,000 pounds in cash. 首先呢，我们来看到这里的动词的用法 put someone to the test 也就是让某人来接受考验的意思。而这里所接受考验的人是 amateur cooks. Amateur 在这里当作形容词，解释成为业余的。那么来看看呢，他们谁可以得到这样子的冠军奖杯？我们看到他所使用的动词 deserve 是解释成为应该得到的意思。He deserves this glory. 他应该得到这样子的荣誉。They deserved to be punished. 他们应该要受罚。OK， 接着呢，我们就来看到，在这里有两个重要的评审，分别呢是 Adam Richman， 他在这里用一个同位语说明，他是 an American author and food explorer。 他是美国的作家以及饕客。另外一位评审叫做 Mark Blanchford， 那么他又是谁呢？后面补充说明 An executive chef from London 是来自伦敦的行政主厨。
We're going to take a quick break. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
We shall now continue with today's lesson. Again, we've got the show Barbecue Champ. We've got a number of contestants who are trying to cook barbecue dishes, and these dishes will be judged by two judges, Adam Richman and Mark Blatchford. They are quite qualified to do the judging, and of course, they're probably going to be offering advice to the people, saying what they like, saying what they don't like. There are lots of shows like this on these types of channels. So in order to judge their food, the contestants, or at least in order to impress the judges, the contestants have to prepare a perfectly cooked barbecue dish with all the trimmings. Trimmings here just refers to all the things that go with the dish.
The side dishes.
Exactly. So like, I guess for a Thanksgiving dinner in the U.S., you've got turkey, and then all the trimmings would be what? The mashed potatoes, the stuffing, the cranberry salad, all that kind of stuff is the trimmings.
Yum.
And so with barbecue, I guess you've got other things, maybe like barbecue beans or something, or potatoes.
Potato salad. I would say corn on the cob is popular with barbecue.
Sounds good. Yep. So those are all the trimmings,
delicious.
all the side dishes. But the only trick is that everything they serve must be prepared over wood and coals. And that's how barbecues usually go. You've got a special kind of device. It's actually called a grill. Maybe it's actually called a barbecue. The Japanese use something called a hibachi, which is similar. It just has wood or coals underneath there. You light them, you get them burning. It's slow heat, basically. That's the key to barbecues. It's slow heat. So they need to be prepared over wood, burning wood, and coals, which of course is coal that is burning slowly.
Yeah, so you want to take the time to do that. We have a gas grill at home, and so you don't have to wait for the coal to burn down so it's red. That's when it's best to cook. So the only trick is that everything must be served, that they serve has to be prepared a certain way over wooden coals. So you can't use the gas barbecue, which is easier, of course. Now, each episode on TV, we have a series, and each week there's a 1-hour episode usually. So each episode weekly features 3 challenges, the first of which takes place at barbecue headquarters, or BBQ HQ, or barbecue headquarters, an outdoor barbecue location set up with stations for each contestant. If you're watching a cooking show where there is a contest or challenges for the cooks, then each cook has its own place. It's got a board that they can cut on and a place to cook. That's called the station where they're set up. So it sounds like they've got a great place where they actually film this, and it's outdoors, which is wonderful.
That is cool as well.
Yeah.
So again, they've got these stations, and they're equipped with the best barbecues in the industry. This is a phrase, to be equipped with something. That means you have this equipment at your disposal. You can use it. So they're given these grills or these barbecues. They're the best in the industry, and the cooks are faced with the intense pressure of building their fires. They have to cook as well, and they also have to plate their dishes in a limited amount of time. So they are faced with this pressure. If you're faced with something, that means it's a challenge that you need to confront. You need to face this, and you need to deal with it, and you need to overcome it. You might be faced with a crisis in your life, or faced with a decision. Gee, should I go to vocational school, or should I go to high school? That might be something that junior high kids are faced with, a decision they are faced with. But here they are faced with the intense pressure of doing these different things. It's intense pressure. Intense means to a high degree, not just a little pressure, not just a medium amount of pressure, but a high amount of pressure. It's intense pressure. pressure. It's quite forceful. It's quite extreme. And yes, they have this pressure. It's very competitive. They need to build the fire, get those coals burning.
Yeah.
They also need to cook the food. They don't need to overcook it. They can't undercook it. And then they need to plate the dishes. Actually, admittedly, I've never heard the word plate used as a verb like this before.
Oh, no, you don't watch cooking shows. They use it all the time.
Really, no. Yeah, I just have night market stuff all the time. But to plate means to put the food on the plate and make it presentable.
To arrange it in a very pretty way. If you go to an expensive restaurant, the plating is one of the most important things. How the chef, it's not a cook, how the chef arranges things so it looks really appetizing and delicious and beautiful. In the last paragraph, it says in one episode, the contestants are told to expect the unexpected. Ooh, there are surprises, which is kind of fun. Adam, Richmond, and Mark Blatchford, the UK guy, they startle the contestants by requesting a dessert dish. Ooh, that's kind of hard for barbecue champions. And they also want it accompanied by a cocktail, which is a combination of alcohol, some sort of liquor, maybe with fruit juice or something special. It's a cocktail where you mix different types of alcohol together.
Yeah, like a slow gin fizz or a Tom Collins or a martini or a Long Island iced tea. Those are different kinds of cocktails. So this is kind of unusual here. They have to present a dessert, which is something that's sweet. I don't really expect sweet things to be served at a barbecue.
Yeah, and they startle them by surprising them. And what we're saying there is requesting. If you request something, you ask politely for something. Demand is more harsh. I think it's definitely more intense. You're demanding something. Here, they're just requesting, might I please have a dessert dish? Or may I please have this? Of course, they have to, if they're going to win the competition, supply that. And it's accompanied or it's served along with. If you accompany somebody, you go along with somebody. But here, food is accompanying something else. So that dessert dish is presented with a cocktail by its side. That's accompanied with.
Seems kind of weird to me to have a dessert and a cocktail. To me, I guess we usually have our cocktails before the meal, but I guess that's a regular meal. I'm not quite sure how they do barbecues in Britain, but cocktails are pretty tasty, and so are desserts. So they request a dessert dish, and they want it to come with a cocktail. They want it accompanied by a cocktail, and the judges want to be able to look at the dishes and think, there's no way that came off a barbecue. So yes, the contestants, the chefs, need to cook the food as if they did not come off a barbecue. That's kind of interesting. So they're going to look at the dishes and they'll think, hey, this is a barbecue show. We know this was made on a barbecue, but I need to look at that dish and say, hey, I don't think that actually came off a barbecue. I guess that means that the chefs need to prepare it so well that it doesn't even look like it came off a barbecue.
Yeah, good luck with that. That's hard. Now, with a clock ticking, here we mean the clock ticking down. So time's going quickly, so you got to hurry. The contestants get to work. They only have 75 minutes to come up with a sweet dish and drink that could tempt the palates of even the harshest critics. This is tough for barbecue cooks who aren't used to making desserts. That's a real surprise. Most cooks on these cooking shows hate it when they have to come up with a dessert. That's not their forte. Your forte is what you're good at. F-O-R-T-E, your forte. So they have to work quickly. If you tempt someone, you entice them and you try to do something that they find something very attractive, and it's hard to turn down, hard to ignore. Something that tempts me always is ice cream. I love ice cream and donuts. Donuts tempt me too.
Yeah, my mother used to tempt me with the taste of nuts and honey when I was a kid. Oh boy, that sounds very good. You're tempting me with that. I don't know if I can resist. So, of course, here the chefs are tempting the palates of those critics of the judges. Palate, of course, is a part of your mouth, but it also refers to basically your ability to taste food and to decide which food is good and which is bad. And, of course, if you're a harsh critic, that means you're very critical. You're not very nice, basically. You're not afraid to criticize things if you don't like them. So they need to please the palates, please the taste buds of these critics, even though they might be quite severe. They might be very harsh or mean.
Well, they know what they're talking about, so they have to do a good job. Right now, we're going to listen one more time to our Chinese teacher.
参赛者想要赢得冠军的 trophy 奖杯，那么在这里有个很重要的诀窍，在第二段中间的句子提到 The only trick is that everything they serve must be prepared over wood and coals. 在这里的 trick 解释成为窍门跟手法的意思。举例来说，每天练习是学会一门外语的诀窍，你就可以说 Daily practice is the trick in learning a foreign language. 而在这里想要赢得冠军奖杯的诀窍就是 everything they serve. 他们所端上的每一样东西呢，都必须要在木材跟煤炭上面准备好。这一段的最后一句来看看 Equipped with the best barbecues in the industry, the cooks are faced with the intense pressure of building their fires, cooking, and plating their dishes in a limited amount of time. 在这里首先开始的是 equipped with, 这里的主词省略掉了，也就是指的呢是这些cooks 厨师们他所装有的配备呢是在这个业界里面最棒的烤肉器具了，但是他们所面临的是庞大的压力。在这里我们使用的是被动的 be faced with， 你可以选择用3个字的 be faced with 或者是1个字的 face 来代表着面对的意思。面对的是 the intense pressure， 我们可以用 intense 当作形容词，解释成为强烈的、剧烈的，这样的压力是非常巨大的。举个例子来说 The fracture caused him intense pain. 这样子的骨折呢，给他造成了剧烈的疼痛。而他们的压力面对的是必须要 building their fires 生活 cooking烹饪，并且还要摆盘 plating their dishes， 而这些呢都是在有限的时间内要去完成它。最后我们来看到第3段的最后一句 They have 75 minutes to come up with a sweet dish and drink that could tempt the palates of even the harshest critics。在这里提到他们有75分钟能够来做出一道能够诱惑住甚至是最严苛评论家的味蕾的甜点跟饮料。首先我们来看到这个片语 come up with， 也就是有提出怎么样的想法或者是作为的意思，而动词 tempt 则是有引诱或者是吸引的意思。举个例子来说 The offer of a high salary tempted Tom. 愿意出高薪的这样的提议呢，使 Tom 非常的心动，而这些人的重点就在于要去 tempt the palates of the harshest critics. 必须呢要来诱惑住这些非常严苛评论家的味蕾。在这里的 harsh 当作形容词，就是有严厉跟严酷的意思。OK， 以上就是今天的课文讲解，谢谢收听。
That's all the time we have for today, everybody. Thank you so much for joining us, and please join us again next time when we continue to talk about Barbecue Champ. Until then, from English Digest, I'm Tom.
I'm Stephanie.
Goodbye.
Bye.